This one here is a 1941 Chevy pickup that I'm building for a customer. It was an original farm truck, unmolested, inline six. And we blew the whole truck apart, took it down to the frame, and updated all the chassis. So it's got a 4-link Mustang 2 air suspension, and then we went ahead and did a LS motor, but we wanted to give it that retro look. So it's got the old school valve covers and a fuel injection carburetor so that it keeps that 350 look without all the problems of the carburetor. We wanted it to fit in with the old schoolness of the truck, so to speak. So the truck was sandblasted and taken down to bare metal. We didn't want to fix any dents or issues with the truck because we wanted it to stay very rustic and farm truck-like. But the original paint was just too far gone to save. So then we shot it with some SPI red oxide epoxy. So it's protected from the elements, and it still has all the character from being a farm truck with all the dings and dents and history.
Exactly.
So it's obviously on air suspension. The Mustang 2 front end gets it down nice and low. It's got a rack and pinion, disc brakes, so it's got power steering, power brakes. All the chrome is original. The front bumper is actually from a Cadillac from the 40s. It was on the truck when we got it, so we didn't want to swap it out and put a Chevy truck bumper. So
it looks nice.
Yeah, we figured it was cool, something a little different. Not a lot of people are even going to notice it says Cadillac. And then we did the aluminum visor. Again, very original, old.
And this is custom fabricated by you?
No. This is an old aluminum visor, an accessory visor. So if you look closely, it's got a lot of dings and dents. But again, it goes with the character of the build.
It does.
So the idea was that the chassis drivetrain is all really nice. So the chassis has been powder coated. All the wiring, air lines, fuel line, everything is brand new, routed beautifully, crimped to the frame, motors painted, everything is done nice. But the body, the aesthetics, is left rough and not patinaed, but just
more vintage.
More vintage, yeah. And to me, it's just more user-friendly. You can take this truck to Home Depot, and if somebody leaves their shopping cart next to it, you're not going to be worried about it. Like if you have a fully show truck, then you're not driving that anywhere other than a car show.
That's true.
So to me, this is just more user-friendly, enjoyable. We did a new bed in the truck. Again, we didn't want it to be all shiny and beautiful, so we went with like a satin varnish on the wood and stained it a little bit darker.
And it also matches the paint a little.
Yeah, so it's got a little bit of red in it. And obviously the truck still needs like tail lights and a license plate and a couple other odds and ends to finish it off to make it a driver. So inside it's got the original dash. Still to do will be the Dakota Digital cluster. They actually make one for this truck. So that'll get swapped out later when we finish dash wiring. We put a floor shifter because this truck had a 4-speed or 3-speed on the floor. And that's the original steering column with the original steering wheel. We didn't want to put a modern billet steering wheel, column, tilt and all that. We wanted to keep it, farm truck vintage. And then all the sheet metal in the truck is original. The door panels, the garnish moldings. And again, we painted it semi-glossy and left all the dings and dents in it. Because again, we wanted it to look authentic, like if it could have been found like this in really decent shape. And then I just finished fabricating the floor because I think this truck had a wood floor. I think when I got it, the floor was halfway missing anyway, so we made a new floor for it so that it could go over the transmission and all that stuff. So, and then it's got airlift performance for the air management. It's got the 3P system, which is a very standard basic system, but it's got presets, so it'll be easy for him to use. He can hit a button, air it up, go cruising, hit another button, lay it out, And it's very, very simple.
Nice.
That's the goal with this truck. Very user-friendly and simple.
A lot of people that follow me, Yaren, when they see old school cars like this, bagged or with air ride suspension, they think, or their opinion is that they messed up the car. And it's not like that. Some of them don't know that you can actually bring the car high to different levels.
Yeah.
Whether you're going inside a shopping center,
Of course.
or whatever you need.
Yeah.
You can adjust the height so you don't mess up the suspension. Actually, I think the car looks nicer when you bag it.
It's all in doing it right. You could bag any car and do it right or do it wrong. Mm-hmm. And that's going to determine your opinion on air ride.
That's true.
So if you get a bad job and the car rides rough, they just did a bad job. It's not the air ride's fault. Mm-hmm. They've maybe picked the wrong parts or installed it incorrectly, but all the air ride jobs I do, everyone always tells me I love it more than when it was stock, because we design it so that the airbags work at the right height. So you're actually getting suspension. You're not aired up all the way and the bag is stiff, so you're riding rigid. Mm-hmm. So that's the same case with this truck. It could lay out all the way down almost to the ground. He didn't want it to hit the floor, which is fine. But when he airs up to drive, it's comfortable. And like you said, if he needs to get into a garage or a parking lot, he can go even higher to clear a speed bump or a driveway and not scrape up everything and mess everything up.
Exactly. Well, and over here we have some of your cars. That Volkswagen that you have owned for many years. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, that's the first car I think I built from start to finish. I started that project, I think, around year 2000. And it was done in my mom's backyard on a slab of cement, 10 by 20, with no roof, no tarp, no umbrella, just being young and wanting to build a car. It took me a few years because I didn't know what I was doing, but I'm really happy with it. I plan to keep it forever, maybe give it to my son or daughter if they like it or want it. And
it's really nice.
I just brought it down from the lift the other week. So this car, unfortunately, I have not driven it in about 5 or 6 years. So needless to say, I have to go through the brakes, check the engine, the carburetors and all that so I can get it back on the road, which is a goal I have for hopefully this or next year.
And the car is also on air ride suspension?
Yes, that one's on air suspension.
Can I take a look at the interior?
Absolutely. Back when I was building this car, a company called Custom Coachworks out of Colorado, they were doing a lot of air suspension on Volkswagens. So it's got a KCW front air beam, which is basically Volkswagen talk, a Type 3 beam converted to a Type 1 with a airbag. And then on the rear, it's got some air struts as well, and a basic, toggle switch for up and down. Nothing fancy. Again, this was done back in like 2001, 2002. Mm-hmm. The paint job is still from back then. Again,
but that's not the original paint. It was repainted?
No, I painted it back in 2000, 2001. Again, not knowing much about bodywork or metalwork or rust repair. This was my learning car. And, like I said, I'm happy with it. It's not perfect, but I think I achieved my goal with it, which was to give it a cool curb appeal, nice look to it.
It looks nice, man. I really like this car.
Thanks, man.
Really like this car. And I like the way the back tire cambers out.
Yeah, that's since the transmission's in the back. When you air down, the axles force the wheels to go up. And then this car is sitting on 14-inch Supremes, which is a very popular lowrider wheel. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to retrofit it into the Volkswagen, and I think it worked well because a lot of people were running like the MP5 spokes, which are a similar look, but these just gave it a little slightly different flavor, and a lot of people liked it. So
it did. And over here we have another car that I have been wanting to film for a long time. Eventually, we're gonna make it happen once you're not that busy at the shop.
Yeah.
And this is a car that you have had for a long time, and you mentioned to me a while back that this car, your grandpa used to have it, not this one, but something similar.
Correct.
And you also got married in this car after you built it.
Yes, correct. So when my grandpa passed away, we found a picture of him sitting in a white 59 Buick 4-door hardtop. And he was the one that brought the whole family from Cuba to America. He was a political prisoner in Cuba, and his brother actually used to deliver food to the prison. So one day, his brother said, hey, jump in the back of the food truck. You're gonna escape prison. And that's what they did. And this is back in like the early 60s. So there was no cell phones or anything. So when he escaped prison, he had to go into hiding. And then he found a way to leave the country because everybody was trying to find him, going to all his family's houses, and his family didn't know what was going on. So he fled the country, came to America, and he made a name for himself. He started businesses. And this was one of the first cars he was able to buy, a white 59 4-door hardtop. So when he passed away, I started looking, and then my father-in-law found one in Kansas. So bought it, shipped it down, and
It's nice.
built it up, start
nice.
to finish.
And like I said, eventually we're gonna make a video of that car. That's something that I have been waiting for the opportunity to come, and it's a car that I know you guys are gonna like very much. And well, this is your Cadillac that you were telling me that you recently purchased.
Recently got this 60 Cadillac 2-door hardtop from a good friend of mine, Mitch. It was his personal car, I think since 2000. And you know, circumstances change in life, and he
had to get rid of it.
He finally decided he was going to sell it. So he contacted me, and you know, I talked to him and
Exactly.
just picked it up from him a couple of weeks ago. The goal is to put it back together because he got it painted and got all the chrome done. So now I just need to basically kind of reassemble the car and finish it off. He was just kind of tired of the process and in a different part of life right now. His kids are in college, and you know, life changes. So hopefully soon this one will be finished, because I'm pretty excited to see the 60 Cadillac next to the 59 Buick.
That's gonna be
they're
a
of the same genre.
It's gonna be a nice combo.
Yeah. So, and it's gonna have a flaked roof and, you know, similar style to the Buick. So they should complement each other pretty cool.
Nice. And some of the things that you do besides restoration, bagging, is full frame off.
Yes.
What do we got over here?
So this one's a 71 Chevy C10 step side. So this is a chassis that's been modified. It's got a Scott's hot rod front end with Willwood brakes. It's got an LS 6.0. It's been built out. It's running twin turbo. Turbos are not on it right now, obviously. It's got a Holley front drive, the Phytech intake. The transmission's been built out. So this truck is kind of made to go fast. I mean, a lot of people like to go fast with their old cars. I'm not into that stuff. I'm more of a
Cruiser,
lay back, lay low, you know, a little bit of speed, but not go fast.
Me too, me too.
So he should have some fun with this. It's gonna have some big wheels on the back. It's got a GSI rear chassis half with the cradle frame stiffener. So all this stuff here is from GSI, so it converts it to a 4-link. It's got the big step notch, it's got the airbags, the shocks, all that good stuff. It just makes my job easier, you know.
Nice.
I like to work smarter, not harder. And if there's a company that makes a product, I'd rather buy it than reinvent the wheel.
It's true. It's true.
So right now we're in the process of plumbing the chassis. It's just got back from powder coating, and now I'm running all the wiring, all the fuel line, all the cables, all the air hoses. We'll route everything, and then we'll tie everything up nice and neat.
Yeah, and for those of you guys that don't know, but like classic cars and don't know how the system works, there's a company, there's many other companies, but there's a company specific called Accuair that builds this air ride system. And this is the Usher bags that makes the car go up and down once they fill up or empty out of air.
Correct.
Right? So that's how the system works, and that's how Yaril is able to accomplish that look right there, completely slammed on the floor. Outside you have another 3100 that you're building. Can we take a look at that one?
Absolutely.
And this car is not finished yet, as you guys can see, but in my opinion, it already looks beautiful. And some of the things that you do, Yaril, is clean it up, as we see here. This is something that you did. Can you tell me a little bit about this?
Yeah, this customer wanted to have 55 Chevy Bel Air headlights, just to give the truck a little bit more flair, because these 3100s were farm trucks, so they were very basic and bare bone.
Yeah.
So he brought me the headlight bezels and the buckets, and then I made the sheet metal eyebrow to fit over it out of some round bar and some sheet metal. That way, when it gets painted, he can install his 55 Bel Air headlights in his, I think this one's a 31.
3100.
Yeah, 3100. And then we did the front bumper. We tucked it in, made the splash pan. So in other words, that filler pan there, so that it goes all the way to the edges, because the factory one comes with a big gap between the fender and the filler pan, and it's cut short, and the shapes don't match up, because again, it was just a farm truck. So we're refining this truck so that it's just a little bit nicer. So keeping with the theme of the headlights, the dashboard is out of a 55 Bel Air as well. So the dash was halfway installed when the truck arrived. I finished off the corners, so I had them wrap around into the doors. So when you open the door, part of the dash actually comes off and goes with the door panel. And then when you close the door, they line back up. So it looks like a nice wraparound, which is how the Bel Air did it. So obviously there's a ton of little fabrication and metal work involved in that.
That's a nice touch. Same thing with the rear fender here.
Well, the rear running board is factory. And what we're gonna do is, that I've done on a few other trucks, is at the front, you can see that it doesn't roll forward. It kind of like makes a V. We're gonna extend the running board to make it look like the rear of the running board, so it flows right into the front fender. So it's just a little trick that we like to do. It just kind of makes the truck a little cleaner. And then we're doing some 61 Impala taillights. So we didn't want to have the hanging taillights that are common on this truck. They're always awkward looking because they're just hanging off of some bracket, and we figured, let's try to clean it up. Found some taillights that fit the fender, so we fabricated, cut it, welded, made those taillights work. Obviously he'll get clean, fresh ones when we finish the truck, but for fab work.
What color is this truck gonna be?
Currently he's on silver.
Silver.
Currently.
Nice.
There's still a lot of time between.
And right behind you we have your C10.
Yeah, this is my shop truck.
They weren't that popular a couple years ago, but lately they picking up in value, right?
Yeah. You can see I got my 2 baby seats in the front.
Exactly. It has a
because I got 2 kids.
And it has a nice patina to it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, it's a nice little truck. It's got a 5.7 V8. So it's got a little bit more modern engine in it.
And you lower it a little bit too.
I did the standard drop, the drop spindles, flip kit on the rear. Nothing crazy, because I do want it to be a shop truck. I do use this one, kind of like the red truck, the 41 we were just talking about. I take this to Home Depot. I go to Publix, I go anywhere in it, and I'm not scared to leave it in the parking lot
Yeah.
and get a new door ding.
By the way, guys, that's the name of the shop, Yaril's Customs. So if you guys live in Miami or anywhere, and you guys want to contact Yaril, he has an Instagram. You can find him on Instagram. I highly recommend his work, his shop. Very professional, and I mean, the type of work that he does speaks by itself. So Yaril, thank you so much, bro, for giving us the opportunity to come by again. And nothing. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like and also subscribe and follow Yaril on social media. The link is going to be down below. Thank you.